Let's be honest for a second, guys. When people hear preparedness, they picture panic buying, stockpiling, generators, and fear-driven decisions. Look at the sky out here. We are getting a cold front today that is going to make some history in the state of Florida. It is actually snowing currently in the Panhandle right now as we speak. Well, here's the truth most people don't realize until it is just absolutely too late. The homesteads that stay stable aren't the ones with the biggest stockpiles. Have you guys ever heard that before? If you've been on my channel for more than a few minutes, you've heard it here, okay? We talk about resilience here, right? They're the ones with the simplest systems. And in 2026, with these crazy rising prices, the grid strain, I mean, has anybody else's power been flickering a lot lately? What about the Verizon outage the other day? You know, they're the ones that you need to be looking for, okay? In 2026, there's just a little bit of uncertainty everywhere, but we're going to try to approach this as calmly as we can, okay? Today, I want to walk you through what actually keeps a homestead stable when everything else starts to wobble. It's funny, I was coming up thinking about that, and I see the ducks over there having a heyday with this wind right now. S'mores and her babies is right over here. She just had 2 babies. If you're new to the channel, she had 2 babies yesterday. And Dolly, I'll show you guys in a minute, just had she had 4 babies. Unfortunately, 2 of them did not make it. So anyway, we talk about preparedness here without the panic, without the fear, without the stress, real, no editing, straightforward, guys. I'm going to talk about some stability and how it's about systems and not your supplies, okay? One of the biggest mistakes I think people make when they talk about preparedness or think about preparedness is how much they have to have, right? How much food do we need? How much fuel do you have? How old is your fuel? It's been sitting around. How do your propane tanks look? How much gear do you need? What kind of gear do you need? Would your gear even matter where you are? Supplies does run out. Systems don't, as long as they are designed correctly. A stable homestead is not going to rely on one big solution. It's going to rely on many small systems that quietly work every single day. Also, we need names for these new baby goats. So if you guys want to comment, S'mores and Hershey. So the dad is Hershey, and that's S'mores over there. That's the mom. So we were thinking names that go with that. You know, your food systems, water habits, energy expectations, and most importantly, your mindset. These are the small systems I'm talking about, although I'd say your mindset's probably the biggest one, to be honest. Preparedness without panic is going to start there, ultimately, in that mindset, okay? We're going to talk about food. This is where people, honestly, I think, get the most anxiety when it comes to preparedness. A freezer full of a freezer full of meat is great and all until the power goes out. So a pantry full of food is comforting until the prices double again. It's a lot easier to fill that pantry though than that freezer when there's no power. But a stable homestead's going to focus on your renewable foods, not just your stored foods, okay? That's why animals like these chickens, goats, ducks, I mean, you name it, if you had to, you could, right? We don't always want to talk about it, but if you had to, you could. They don't produce food. They convert waste into protein. Kitchen scraps become eggs. Bugs become eggs. Weeds become eggs. That loop on your homestead is stability. Gardens work the same way. We have lots of gardening video. We got a whole playlist on this channel on gardening. I have an orchard going on right now, tons of bananas, loquat, you name it. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I'm always looking to add to it too, so if you guys have any suggestions. A homestead that can produce something, even modestly, stays calmer when systems outside the fence start shaking, right? Most people worry about your food first. A seasoned homesteader is going to know that water, honestly, is your real foundation, okay? No fancy setup. Not an expensive infrastructure, just habits. Knowing when to water, using your mulch, when how to use your mulch, when to use it, how much. Mulch is so crucial. It's so vital. Reusing water when it's safe, you can do that, okay? Keeping your animals hydrated with minimal waste. And waste, it's not a problem. Don't think of waste as what it sounds like. It's a resource on a homestead. Manure is feeding your soil. Bedding is becoming compost. Nothing is extra on a stable homestead. Literally, I'm not even kidding. You can recycle everything on a homestead. Everything on a homestead can be turned into something else. It's a life cycle. It's beautiful. It is stability. It is the foundation with resilience. I'm telling you guys, man, when your land absorbs instead of depends, your stress level is going to drop dramatically. You know, when something hits the fan and you just got nothing, your homestead is going to be there for you. I'm telling you, small systems. Part that surprises people is energy. Lower expectations is higher stability. Stable homesteads don't chase maximum power. You want to, the idea here is you want to embrace, look at the two babies. You want to, what I'm saying is you want to embrace like minimum dependence, okay? Less reliance on constant electricity. Turn all your electricity off for a little bit. Not so much your power, obviously, but just try to minimize it, right? Fewer systems that fail catastrophically, more daylight-driven routines. Try to get what you can done during the day. You don't need daylight savings. The whole reason that was created, guys. Fewer systems, like I said, that fail catastrophically. Look at the way he's playing with the rooster. It's funny. There's a boy and a girl there. You don't need everything running all the time. You know, the jokes about dads leaving the room, why is the light still on? It's the same thing applies to your homestead, man. Expectations are realistic. Outages become inconveniences, and they're not emergencies at that point. That's preparedness without the panic. It becomes second nature. It really does. Here's the part that nobody honestly wants to talk about, though, is the most important. Being calm is an absolute survival skill. Your mindset, I would say the homestead community has a general sense of calmness compared, I mean, have you guys seen the news? Compared to city folk. I grew up in a city, so I'm familiar. I've spent some years all over the world. I've been to 20 different countries, 40 states, you know. I've seen my fair share of cities and suburbs and rural areas and areas where the nearest gas station is 100 miles, okay? Homesteads that stay stable are not rushing. They're not reacting emotionally to headlines. They're not constantly changing their direction. You're going to build slowly, calmly. You're going to adjust quietly. Here comes some of the goatees. I just realized I'm out here. They focus on what they can control today. Preparedness doesn't mean living, woo, guys, this wind, look at that. Look at that. Preparedness doesn't mean living in fear of the future. I love embracing the cold fronts here, man. It's great. Make sure your gardens are prepared for it. Being confident when you can handle change. This cold front, it's a change in zone 10A. You got to be confident with it, okay? Embrace it for what it is. You see the trees blowing 40, 50 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour gusts right now, okay? Embrace it for what it is. It's actually about to storm like crazy. You can see the clouds. I can smell the rain too. That's a thing, by the way. Can anybody else smell the rain? Let me know in the comment section below. Some of you can probably feel it in your knees. If you're overwhelmed in 2026, you're not alone, and that's okay. That's why we do this channel, okay? The answer is not to panic. You know, just because everything starts moving 100 miles an hour like these trees doesn't mean it's the time to take a deep breath, embrace what's going on, okay? It's steady steps. It is simple systems. It is a mindset rooted in calmness and not fear. That's what we're building here. If you want real homestead preparedness without the stress and without the panic and without the hype, make sure you're subscribed. We'll be filming in the heart of a hurricane, in the heart of a calm, quiet, warm or cool night. Either way, it doesn't matter. Let me know in the comments what part of your homestead gives you the most peace right now.